These days I went to install Punishing Gray Raven and I noticed it was taking up almost 30 gigabytes. That's insane. What happened to those 200 megabytes or 500 megabytes games we used to have? If you don't have a very powerful phone, or even if you just don't have much storage space for games on your device, you're in the right place. I'm going to show you 15 insane games with less than 500 megabytes for Android. So drop a like and come with me. Let's start this list with a life simulator from Indonesia that's very cute and highly addictive. Let's talk about OJOL Life Simulator. The premise is simple but addictive. You start as a beginner driver with a basic motorcycle and a simple phone. Your goal is to accept jobs through your virtual smartphone and complete deliveries or transport passengers and earn money to improve your life. You can explore a city inspired by Indonesia with realistic traffic, narrow alleys and busy avenues. And it's not just about driving. You need to keep an eye on your phone's battery, your motorcycle's fuel and your character's energy, which means eating and resting when necessary. With the money you earn, you can upgrade your motorcycle, buy a house, improve your character inside the game and unlock many other upgrades along the way. I know this is a stickman style game and Android has a pretty bad reputation when it comes to that, but trust me, this game is really good. Let's talk about Nightfall Kingdom Frontier. The game works in a constant cycle. During the day, you take on the role of a king who needs to rebuild his kingdom, and to do that you rely entirely on coins. You use the resources you earn to build towers, barracks to train soldiers, farms to generate gold, and walls for protection. As the weather changes, hordes of monsters emerge from the darkness. This is where the game shifts into action and survival. You directly control the hero on the battlefield, riding a mount, fighting alongside your troops to defend your castle. If this were just a normal tower defense, I probably wouldn't include it on this list, but it has some really interesting character control mechanics and a very solid RPG style progression which makes it stand out. This is a very old game and because of that it will run on your phone even if your device is really weak. Let's talk about KRITIKA, the White Knights. Unlike slower or more strategic RPGs, KRITIKA focuses on fast-paced action. You control your character inside closed arenas, pulling off aerial combos and powerful special abilities known as X skills that take over the entire screen. For its time, the graphics were very impressive. It's worth remembering that this game was released back in 2014 and it still exists and works to this day. One of the game's strongest points is its huge roster of characters with more than 20 playable characters, each one with a truly unique playstyle. These aren't just similar classes with small differences, they actually feel very different from one another. Even after all these years, the game still receives seasonal events and occasional new classes. If you're a dedicated player, it's totally possible to progress without spending real money. This was one of the only games I've played from Kemco and I definitely need to try more from them. But let's talk about Knights of GRAYFANG. The story takes place in the world of Eldrad, which is at war. On one side there are humans and on the other monsters. To turn the tide, the human king performs a ritual that turns soldiers into vampires, creating an elite force to reclaim the 9 sacred temples. What really sets this game apart from other Kemco RPGs is Thoma's blood system. At the same time that you use his blood to support other characters, you also need to manage risk, because if you overuse it, it's game over. Unlike other games from the same developer that are basically just walk and attack, Knights of GRAYFANG includes more elaborate puzzles, and since it uses pixel art, it's also very lightweight and runs smoothly. Gordian Quest is an ambitious and very well executed mix of classic RPG and roguelike elements, a game that never really gets boring. Let's talk about it. Battles take place on a grid-based board where positioning is crucial. You need to move your heroes to avoid area attacks or line them up properly to set up combos. Each hero has their own deck of cards. As they level up, you don't just gain stats, you also choose new cards and upgrade them through a skill tree. You can build a party of up to 3 heroes from a roster of 10 unique classes. Some are more traditional, like a healer, while others are more unusual, such as the Goalmancer. Even though it's also a roguelike, the game includes a full campaign mode, an epic journey divided into 4 acts to save the world of Rendia. It features a proper story, non-player characters, and side quests. The main feature of this game is that it's a roguelike, but what really sets it apart is the fact that it's also an FPS shooter. Let's talk about Feral Frontier. Unlike some of the other games we mentioned, this one puts a strong focus on cooperation. It was designed to be played with friends, and that makes the experience much easier and more enjoyable. The game throws you into dynamic arenas where the goal is to survive waves of enemies while collecting upgrades. Every run is different. You find random weapons, abilities, and artifacts, and if you die, you lose all progress from that run, just like a proper roguelike. The game uses a colorful, slightly old-school art style with humanoid animal characters. Even so, it's easy to tell that the game is very lightweight despite being fully 3D. EVOLAND is one of the most creative and nostalgic games available on Android, and even though it was released back in 2012, it's still one of the best games on the Play Store. Let's talk about it. You start in a completely monochromatic world in black and white with 8-bit graphics and no sound at all. As you open treasure chests across the map, you literally unlock technological upgrades for the game itself. You move from pixelated 2D visuals to color, then to 16-bit graphics, and eventually into a fully 3D world with modern textures. At first, the game only allows you to move to the right. Later on, you unlock movement in all directions, the inventory system, save points, and even the battle system. In other words, it's a mix of RPG styles. Some moments feel like The Legend of Zelda, others resemble Final Fantasy, and there are even elements that feel inspired by Diablo. If you love pixel art and you're tired of trying to play games with long story modes, this might be your next favorite game. Let's talk about Elemental World. It really stands out because of its creative combat system based on manipulating natural elements. The core of the game is the ability to combine up to 3 elements to create unique spells. For example, you can soak enemies with a water spell and then follow up with lightning to deal extra area damage. The environment is also fully responsive. You can burn grass to cause continuous damage, freeze puddles of water to trap enemies, or blow up explosive barrels. Like any good roguelike, progression is run-based, but if you die, you don't lose everything. You slowly unlock permanent upgrades along with new characters and weapons. If you're looking for an MMORPG but you need something very lightweight, I've got the right game for you. Let's talk about Duel Revolution. The game takes place on Bitakora Island, where you'll find creatures known as EVOs. Right now, there are over 80 unique EVOs that you can capture and train. Unlike games like Pokemon where stats increase automatically, here you use a skill tree with around 12 meaningful levels to customize your monster's abilities and strengths based on your playstyle. Unlike classic console-style games, Duel Revolution puts a strong focus on player interaction, both through trading with other players and through cooperative mission modes. The game also features cross-play, meaning you can play on Android against players on PC, Steam, or iOS. Dragon & Home is an open-world sandbox MMORPG that mixes a block-style aesthetic with RPG mechanics and life simulation elements. Let's talk about it. The game is built around 2 main pillars: exploring the wild world and managing your home. You can travel across plains, deserts, snowy mountains, and tropical forests. You can collect almost everything you see to use as building materials or crafting ingredients, but by the end of the day, you still need to return home, just like the game's name suggests. Unlike many RPGs where you're locked into a single choice, Dragon & Home offers class freedom. You can switch classes simply by changing weapons, and the game includes multiple cooperative modes. On top of that, there's a full building system and even lifestyle professions, all of this packed into a game that stays under 500 megabytes. We haven't talked about a full PvP game yet, and just by looking at this one, you can already understand how it works. Let's talk about combat magic, spells, and swords. The game is known for its combat system, which requires a good level of technical skill while throwing you into deadly battles against other players. You can quickly switch between melee weapons, but the game also features bows and long-range combat, and the key is to swap weapons fast to gain the upper hand. One of the things that keeps players engaged is the depth of customization, both visually for your character and in terms of skills and levels. You can reach up to level 50, unlocking exclusive abilities along the way. You can also fight against bots across multiple difficulty levels to practice combos or farm gold and experience without relying on an internet connection. We still haven't talked about a survival game, but now it's time, and this one is very complete and very lightweight. Let's talk about Bunker 23. You take on the role of Ivan, an ordinary guy who is on a desperate search for his missing sister. The only clue is an enigmatic message left on her phone, which leads him to investigate the Contour Corporation. The game takes place across multiple environments, ranging from claustrophobic underground complexes to outdoor areas, all infested with monsters and mutants created by these experiments. The game offers a varied arsenal of firearms with automatic shooting mechanics that help a lot during combat. It's not just about shooting, shooting, you'll also need to solve logic and attention-based puzzles to unlock passages, find elevator codes, and progress through the story. The game was created by just one developer, so you might encounter some occasional bugs, but nothing that really hurts the overall experience. Arcane Quest Legends 2 is the successor to the acclaimed action RPG and is easily one of the best of its generation so far. Let's talk about it. The game takes place in the kingdom of Aria, featuring a map that's much larger than the first title. You travel through forests, deserts, dark dungeons, and cities. The world is divided into open areas where you can accept side quests from NPCs. The game puts a strong focus on gear progression. You'll find common, rare, epic, and legendary items, each with randomly generated stats. One of the biggest strengths of the Arcane Quest Legends series is its classless character system. You're free to build your character however you want, choosing skills, attributes, and even defining your own class, giving you complete creative freedom. The game aims for an honest experience. You can buy story expansions or cosmetics, but your progress depends on your skill and dedication, not on how much money you spend. While Palworld was a huge success on PC with a system similar to Minecraft, Android tried hard to create its own take on that idea, and that's where AMIKIN Village comes in. The game is often described as a mix of Palworld because of its monster collection and Last Day on Earth because of its survival and base automation mechanics. Amikins are the magical creatures that inhabit this world. You use your Amikins to fight wild creatures, and once they're weakened, you can capture them. The biggest standout feature is putting your Amikins to work. They can mine stone, cut wood, grow food, and craft items while you head out to explore. You need to manage resources, craft weapons and armor for your character, and keep your base well protected. There are multiple biomes to explore, each with exclusive Amikins and hidden secrets. Let's finish with a platformer that has only around 50 downloads on the Play Store, but is actually really good. Let's talk about Aiden in Danger. The game follows Aiden, a young hero on a journey to save his world. The story revolves around protecting the last dragon egg, which holds immense power, and Aiden must make sure this dragon stays safe. Aiden uses short-range attacks and abilities that you unlock as you progress, allowing you to face a variety of enemies and challenging bosses. The game starts off friendly, just like a good platformer should, but by the end it'll have you wanting to throw your phone at the wall. It's a super simple game, but one that works extremely well. And that's it for today. All of these games are under 500 megabytes, run on weaker phones, and are absolutely worth playing. If you like the list, drop a like, subscribe for more hidden gems on Android, and I'll see you in the next one.